Class 10th, let's continue the chapter number 15, waste management. In the previous video, in the previous class, I told you about the different types of waste, biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste, and effects of waste accumulation on terrestrial life as well as on the aquatic life. So now in today's video, I'm going to start with the topic that is waste management and what are the several methods for disposal of waste, right? So let's start today's class, waste management. Okay, waste management is what? It is a process, or it's a process of the collection of waste and transportation of those waste to the dumping site, as well as the we can say recycling and the properly disposal of that waste material is the waste management, right? Okay, so it relates to the materials produced by men and to reduce the effect on human health and the environment, we can say. And the amount of waste is increasing in tune with the rapidly growing industrializations and urbanizations. So proper disposal of waste thus becomes a need for all the countries, right? So if someone asks you like why waste needs to be safely disposal, so you can say that the waste should be safely disposed so that it would not affect the human health, or it would not affect the health of living creatures, as well as it would not affect the scenic beauty or the of an area, right? Okay. Now, all types of waste continue to pose a challenge to the environment. People have yet to understand that waste prevention is the best solution to waste management, right? So, when this thinking in developed along with the waste reuse, so then the problem of waste management is almost solved. So, but still, this is not in sight in the clear future. The growth of waste is on the rise in the waste treatment technologies. Waste treatment technologies had not been adopted yet, right? So it's easy to create waste, and it's easy to say that we can safely dispose the waste materials, but it's very difficult task. It costs a lot to have a safe disposal of waste materials or waste, right? So still the developing countries, the underdeveloped countries, they are still adopting the traditional and the primitive method for the disposal of waste materials, right? So it's like it's making a huge volume of waste. Even the government is not well prepared to use the latest technology of waste management. So new kinds of waste are growing every year as a result of new packing materials. Domestic waste is increasing in volume. Agricultural waste is not handled properly. Industrial waste is becoming more toxic, more poisonous, more harmful. And e-waste, electronic waste, e-waste means electronic waste, is growing at alarming rates, and there is no proper method to handle this type of waste. So the effect of nuclear waste is beyond control. All these threats demand urgent need and a quick action for the waste management, so that the environment can be made habitable for our coming generations. That is why the waste materials need to be safely disposed, right? So that traditional methods, primitive methods, no other methods can or could properly or safely disposed the waste materials. So certain technologies, new technologies need to be adopted, right? Now, methods of safe disposal of waste. Waste are produced in three forms: solid, liquid, gaseous, right? So the management techniques therefore vary according to the nature of the waste. Forms of waste, methods of disposal: solid waste, it needs what? Segregation, dumping, composting, inclination. Now liquid state or liquid waste needs what? Effluent treatment before discharge into the river or water bodies. Thirdly, gaseous waste, that needs use of scrubbers and electrostatic precipitators. So these are the several methods for the disposal of different forms of waste: solid, liquid, and gas, right? So it's given here in the chart, page number 252 in your book. Now let's talk about the solid waste disposal, and the first method is segregation. Very important point, that is segregation. So segregation refers to separating or the separation of segregation of the waste material into different categories. So basically the waste are can be categorized into biodegradable as well as non-biodegradable waste. Beside these biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste, we can separate these waste materials into like the according to the features, like sharp blades, knives, and scissors could be separately kept, right? Secondly, the inflammable waste like batteries, sprays, cans, oil bottles, perfume bottles can be after using it we can keep it separately. And the next is recyclable waste, also can be separately kept, like your recyclable materials like plastics, bottles, etc., papers, newspapers, and other waste materials like the waste materials of hospitals like cotton or your biomedical tubes or syringe. And radioactive waste also can be kept separately, like radioactive substances. So these are the different categories of waste materials and which should be kept separately, right? And there need to be make dustbins also to keep these materials separately, right? So basically there are two types of bins. One is green, that is for biodegradable waste, and blue bins, dustbins, that is for non biodegradable waste, right? Now the next method is dumping. So dumping is an activity of depositing waste in an area far away from the residential area. An average city resident produces tons of waste every year. So cities therefore run out of space for waste disposal. Several sites are located for quick dumping of waste, where waste is thrown in an open area. So dumping is what? It is a activity of depositing the waste in an open area, open ground, open area far away from the city. So here, far away from city and an open ground, that is important keyword for dumping. Now it is a common and the cheapest method of disposing waste on land, because transport cost is only major expenditure. So nowadays this method is improved and is called landfill. Now this has been improved. This method has been improvised, and a new method has been introduced, and we call it landfill, right? So landfill is what? It's for a proper safe disposal method of waste materials. So now when we talk about the landfill is what? It is a safe proper disposal method of disposal of waste materials, and the solid waste are spread in a thin layer, and each layer should be solidified by bulldozer before the next layer is deposited, right? So that layer, waste layer, is solidified by bulldozer, and the next layer of waste is placed on it, and again it is spread in a thin layer. So after every 3 meters, a layer of clean earth means soil, should be added and solidified by bulldozer again. So sites of landfills should be so selected that the flood water cannot reach there. Underground water levels should also be less, right? So these are the important factors which needs to be taken care. First is underground water level should be very low, and the landfill sites should be selected that the flooded water could not reach that area. So in all the landfills, many gases are generated, but they are released by venting method. When large amount of methane collects, it can be disastrous. So we know that depositing of waste means emitting out poisonous gas, that is which gas? Methane gas, right? So there should be proper emission of methane gas, proper release of that methane gas, right? So in all the landfills, many gases are generated, but they are released by venting methods. That harmful gases are released by venting methods. But if that gases are not properly emitted out, then it could be very dangerous, disastrous, right? Okay, now next method is composting. Composting, it is the natural process of decomposition of organic waste that yields manure or compost, which is very rich in nutrients. So this is very primitive forms of disposal, or the oldest form of disposal, we can say. Composting is what? It's a biological process in which microorganisms, mainly fungi and bacteria, convert degradable organic waste into humus-like substance. So this is known as composting. So this finished product, which looks like soil, is high in carbon and nitrogen and is an excellent medium for growing plants. So this is one of the safe disposal and proper disposal methods of waste disposal, right? So this is known as composting. So composting, we can say it's a biological process in which microorganism like fungi and bacteria convert degradable organic waste into humus, right? Okay. So it's written here, the process of composting ensures the waste that is produced in the kitchens is also carelessly thrown or left to rot. It recycles the nutrients and returns them to the soil as nutrients. Apart from being clean, cheap and safe, composting can significantly reduce the amount of disposal garbage. So the organic fertilizer can be used instead of chemical fertilizers, and it's better especially when used for vegetables. It increases the soil's ability to hold water and makes the soil easier to cultivate. It helps the soil retain more of the plant nutrients. So these are the usefulness of composting. 3 R's of waste management. 3 efforts are emphasized for waste management. They are reduce, reuse, and recycle. So they are also called 3 R's of waste management. So reduced means what? It's a reducing consumption of natural resources by producing them or destroying the manufacturing process in which a way that they produce minimum water or toxicities, packing in such a way and with material to create less eventual waste. So reduce means reducing the consumption of resources, right? For example, we can reduce the waste of electricity by switching off unnecessary lights and fans. Saving electricity means that we are reducing the use of coal because coal is used to produce electricity. We can reduce the waste of water by repairing the leaking taps. We can reduce the use of LPG by making use of solar cooker for cooking food. We can reduce the use of petrol by walking or cycling for short distances. And we can reduce the use of water resources and fertilizers by preventing the waste of food, because a lot of water and fertilizers are utilized for the production of food. So these are the steps, or these are the methods, these are the process which an individual can make, right, to reduce the waste. Next is reuse method. So reuse means using a product more than once, more than one time, either for the same purpose. Can it be reused? Choose cloth or string, grocery bags, rechargeable batteries, diaper service using cloth diapers or containers, which can serve as a container or space dividers. Okay, so we should, if the thing is can be reused or can be used more than one time, then that those materials should be encouraged, those materials should be used again and again, right? So for example, your rechargeable batteries and your grocery bags, jute bags, and your cloth diapers, containers, which can serve as a container or space dividers, these type of materials which can be used for a long time. So these type of materials should be used, right? As I told you, select well made items which can be repaired if necessary. We need to select those items only which could be long lasting, as well as which could be repaired if necessary, right? So buy in a bulk or choose large containers. Avoid blister packs or excess quantities of filler. So that means instead of buying 1 kg of potatoes or 2 kgs of potatoes, we need to buy 10 kgs or 20 kgs at a time, right? So that will lessen the packaging. Or does it have a minimum packaging? It's written there. So buy in a bulk, right? Or choose large container. Avoid blister packs and excess quantities of filler, because that could create a lot of pollution and a lot of waste material. Now choose least hazardous cleaning supplies, paints, other substances to avoid harming people, land, or the other water supply. Resist buying clothing, entertainment interns, and other purchases. Rent large equipment used infrequently. So these are under the reuse. Next is recycling. So recycling involves the collection of used and discharged materials, processing these materials and making them into new products. So this is important, underline. Recycling means what? It's a collection of used and discarded, thrown materials, processing these materials and making them into a new products. That is recycling. So it reduces the amount of waste that is thrown into the community dustbins, thereby making the environment clean. and air more fresh to breathe. Now, the steps involved in the process prior to the recycling are collection of waste from doorsteps, commercial places, etc. Secondly, collection of waste from community dumps. Third is collection and picking up of waste from final disposal sites. And now these collected materials can be recycled and can be um, made into the new products. So that is recycling. Most of the garbage generated in the household can be recycled. Organic kitchen waste, such as leftover food stuff, vegetable peels, spoiled and dried fruits, vegetables can be recycled by putting them in compost pits. So pits means it's a ditch that can be that have been dug in the garden. Old newspapers, magazines, bottles can be sold to the kabadiwala and the man who buys them these items from homes. Waste recycling has some significant advantages. Number one, leads to less utilization of raw materials. We know that it reduces the environmental impacts arising from the waste treatment and disposal, makes the surrounding cleaner and healthier, and saves on landfill space. Saves money, reduces the amount of energy required to manufacture new products. Okay, here is a chart which shows some of the items that can be recycled or reused, right? And let's talk about the next topic, that is why it matters. Reusing resources can help a business save money while decreasing its ecological footprint. It increases the lifespan of investment and spares a business the cost of buying new products. Reuse can also impact the community. Businesses can donate old materials and products to schools, creative art centers, or any number of reuse organizations. This benefits the community and avoids wasting good materials. So why it matters means why reusing or you're reducing matters, because we know that you reusing a product does not require major manufacturing manipulations. So a reused object is simply put back to work, whether for its original purpose or not. So for examples, donating old working computers to a school is a good idea for um reusing or for reusing the things. Allowing customers to return used packaging such as boxes, packing peanuts, bubble wrap, so that the business can use it again. Furnishing an old and furnitures of an office with reclaimed materials instead of buying new chairs and tables for offices, right? So this reuse really matters, and it helps a business to save money, and it helps in decreasing the ecological footprints also, right? That is why it matters a lot. Okay. So, to have a safe disposal of waste materials and to have a proper disposal, uh, proper waste disposal, waste management, these three mantras are or should be encouraged, right? Adopted. This method should be adopted. And that three are mantras are reduce, reuse, and recycle, right? Okay. So, children, here we have completed this chapter, chapter number 15, waste management, and this do prepare this chapter for your pre-board exam as well as for your board exam also. It's a very important chapter, right? So all the very best for your pre-board exam, and do well, give your 100% to score better marks. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.